Kafka-trapping is a type of fallacy that's been commonly used over the past few years, yet people are getting away with using it, and those subjected to it are often submitting to it without knowing what it is. In this video, I'm going to teach you what it is and how to spot it, using a real example of something that happened recently. Kafka-trapping is most commonly used by social justice warriors as a way of shielding their indefensible claims about groups of people they have an irrational contempt towards, and making it seem as if the victim is the one in the wrong. It's a manipulation technique that's been going on for far too long now, unchallenged, and obviously we can't allow it to happen. So, what is Kafka-trapping? Well, here's a simple definition I found. A Kafka trap is a fallacy where if someone denies being X, it is taken as evidence that the person is X, since someone who is X would deny being X. And here's another very interesting description of it that I found in an essay about it. The aim of the Kafka trap is to produce a kind of free-floating guilt in the subject, a conviction of sinfulness that can be manipulated by the operator to make the subject say and do things that are convenient to the operator's personal, political, or religious goals. Ideally, the subject will then internalize these demands and then become complicit in the Kafka trapping of others. The name is derived from the novel The Trial by the Czech writer Franz Kafka, in which a seedy lawyer uses this very technique to instill a false sense of guilt in the victim of his cross-examination and take every defense as an example of his guilt. So an example of Kafka trapping might be something like, hey you're a fucking paedophile. Huh? Me? I'm not a paedophile. Ha! Ha! See? I knew it. That's something a paedophile would say. But I'm not a... there you go, see? Talking over a victim of child abuse and exercising your pedo-fragility. But instead of getting defensive, stop, reflect, and listen to the voices of victims of child abuse instead of tone policing us. Now, you'd think that this type of logic is indeed just the type of satire you'd see in a comedy sketch or indeed a novel, like where the technique is named after. But actually it's now a very common tactic used by activists on the far left to trap the victims of their own hateful and discriminatory statements, most commonly white people, into believing that they, the victim, are the one who is in the wrong. Unfortunately, because of the manipulative nature of Kafka trapping, many white people have succumbed to the technique and joined the woke cult because they are too mentally weak to combat it when used against them. So the example we're going to go over today is on a post in the vegan community by an Instagrammer who goes by the name of Zipporah the Vegan. And I just want to say before we start, please do not bully or dogpile Zipporah over this post. I'm not about that. And Zipporah will come across this vid one way or another, I'm sure. But the reason I'm pointing this out is because this post Zipporah made making quite malevolent remarks about white people and then seemingly Kafka trapping them in the comment section has been liked by over 4,000 people. Yes, 4,000 at the time of making this video. And this is significant because this behaviour should not be going unchallenged. And the victims of Kafka trapping also need to learn how to spot it, and so do we as a movement. So it's a post about the ridiculous notion of white veganism, and I'll leave a link in the description to a video I did a while ago about this concept. And Zipporah here appears to make the claim that compassion is more intuitive to non-white vegans. So an utterly outrageous claim that would get them cancelled if it was about literally any other racial group. But Zipporah is privileged enough to be able to say and get away with. Now, just in case you think I've strawmanned Zipporah by highlighting those two bits to make it seem like they're saying something worse than they actually are, nope, watch this. So this follower of Zipporah's, or I hope former follower now, rightly pipes up and defends herself against this horrible claim and says, compassion is more intuitive to people of colour. And there we have it, confirmed. Zipporah callously and probably without hesitation replies, yes. Now, you'll see in my vid linked in the comments about white veganism just why this term people of colour is tactical and manipulative in itself. But the long and short of it is that it's meant to pit every single race in the world up against white people and say, we're one group, white people are the other group. So it's not even differentiating between all the however many races there are on the planet. It's just, hey, are you not white? Well, we're on the same team. But if you're white, you are the devil in the woke religion, essentially. Anyhow, I digress. So then this white follower of Zipporah's, who is quite probably understandably upset by this, responds by basically saying, what the fuck? And Zipporah responds by telling her to read more into white supremacy so that this makes sense to her. Anyhow, Zipporah's follower then further responds, defending herself and rightly saying she doesn't agree with Zipporah's disgraceful statement that POC, that's anyone who isn't white, possess greater compassion than white people. So, how is Zipporah going to respond here? By either apologising for the statement or by providing evidence for the claim? Nope, this is where Zipporah's going to deploy the Kafka trap. Now watch closely, watch what Zipporah does here. The fact that you're triggered by how I worded something that you admit into agreeing with is very telling. It's actually called tone policing, and white people have done it for centuries. Highly recommend reading up on that one as well, if you're actually intent on learning and doing better. Cheers. Now, did you see that? Notice what happened there. That was a textbook example of the type of Kafka trap we've seen very commonly from social justice circles over the past few years. So Zipporah's tactic there was loud and clear. Defend yourself against the false claim I made against you. You are the one in the wrong here. You know, how dare you, as a white person, defend yourself against my claim about your own demographic? I'm not the one in the wrong here for making the malevolent claim. You are the one in the wrong, and your defense of yourself against my claim is further evidence, of my point of your racism, of your lack of compassion. So that was the Kafka trap deployed expertly there by Zipporah, and their followers are just lapping it up. This post is getting shared all over Instagram, largely unchallenged. And you don't even have to be that observant to see the level of hypocrisy here from Zipporah with this statement accusing this white lady of tone policing. Tone policing? No, you are the one tone policing here, Zipporah. You're telling a white woman here how she should react to you making derogatory statements about her, her friends, her family. Once again, imagine that if done about any other race. You slander that race, and then when people of that race defend themselves, you tone police them about how to react and then accuse them of tone policing. The amount of privilege you have to have in order to get away with that is jaw-dropping. Zipporah's followers are just lapping this up, and Instagram would have took this post down if it was about any other race except white people. Because white people are constantly being Kafka-trapped and unfortunately falling for the manipulation tactics deployed here by the cult of woke. Kafka-trapping is what's given rise to this belief that exists now that, white people can't experience racism, which is another underhand tactical ploy by the far left, so that essentially what people can do now is say, I can say whatever the fuck I want about your race, and if you even dare try to defend yourself, you're the one in the wrong. It's also given rise to terms such as white fragility. That is a term created by Kafka trappers to instill a sense of guilt into white people who defend themselves against poisonous anti-white rhetoric. This mantra obviously affords people privileges if they can use it, and helps create a culture where their politics and the parties that they vote for get the upper hand. It's seedy, underhand, devious tactics that are being espoused largely by US coastal state universities, which are now largely nothing more than glorified political indoctrination camps. Just ask anyone who's attended one of these in the last few years. Anyhow, do you now see just how common Kafka trapping is, and how you may have seen it many times over the past few years, but just not known that there is a term for it? Well, now you know, and I hope that this video has given you that little bit of knowledge that enables you to call it out when you see it. No one in this movement should be standing for this type of rhetoric about white vegans or any racial group at all. White vegans are kind, compassionate, caring, selfless, generous, nurturing, peaceful, benevolent, altruistic, progressive, anti-discriminatory, and despise injustice. And if you think any differently about them, you need to undo your conditioning that you've been manipulated into thinking by political cults operating in various justice movements over the past few years. Anyhow, no hate towards Zipporah, and I'm open for dialogue, Zipporah, if you're open to it too. I just want to end this video by saying big love to vegans of all colours and creeds, and thank you for trying to create a better world. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and share the vid, subscribe to the channel, and if you value my work, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Until next time.